Worked very hard to book our next guest. It was a tough sell to bring her on to the program. Alisyn
Yeah.
Camerota, you are in the spotlight today for very good reason.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. So my memoir, I wrote a memoir, came out a year ago called Combat Love. It just came out in paperback, and this is the
It's
new
amazing.
paperback cover. And I'm just really happy to be able to continue to talk about this story. My memoir, everybody's life story you think is incredibly unique until you put it out and find out that it resonates with thousands of people and that they have some sort of shared experience. So, in a nutshell, my life story is that I had a very turbulent teenagehood. I lived in about six different houses in different cities in the space of 2 years. I left home at 16, and things did not get easier for me after I did that. So, I was often in some dicey situations. I really had to fend for myself. The upshot, I guess, or the silver lining of that tough time is that I do think it laid the seeds for my journalism career. I do think I developed a lot of self sufficiency and grit that I didn't have and wouldn't have had. And I use that every day in my journalism career, but it wasn't easy. And there were definitely mental health struggles. I was broke a lot of the time. I didn't know where I was living some of the time. So I outline it all in here. And again, it's been a great ride to get out there and talk to. This is my mom and me. We were extremely close as you can see, as I was growing up. And then my parents got divorced. And things got harder for both of us, I would say. The foundation of my family kind of fell apart. This is my first day of high school right there. I went to high school, as you guys may know, in New Jersey. I'm a proud Jersey girl, and I loved high school, but it was a difficult time.
And for those that don't know you, Allison, from CNN or Fox or from this show, of course, what do you think is the message, that common thread that people can take away from reading this book?
Well, first of all, you don't have to worry as much about your kids as you think you do. I tell, when I hear moms worried and saying things like, oh, I had such a mom fail today. I didn't pack the juice in their lunch. I'm like, time out, time out. If you are providing a stable home for your children, they're going to be just fine, for the most part. And so I do think that I hope there's a message that I had a dream. And this dream started at 15 years old, and I wanted to be a TV reporter. And I didn't know anybody, and I had no contact, and I frankly had no talent, I would say. And I just through really hard work and this aspirational North Star, I worked my way towards it, and I achieved it. And I don't know. I hope that that's a success story and a survivor story that people can be inspired by.
So I'm curious. So you have this dysfunctional childhood, teen years, not knowing where you're going to sleep sometimes at night. You talk about a former teacher took you in. Was that part of, a turning point for you? How did you wind up with this huge turning point of getting to college, to American University, which set you on the path towards this career, as I understand it?
So, throughout the book, as you'll read, I really did have to rely on the kindness of friends. I often used my friends as surrogate family when I didn't, feel like I had a family at that moment that I could eat dinner with or whatever. So I do think that there's something to the power of friendship. And then, yes, my drama teacher from my high school, Red Bank Regional in New Jersey, took me in and let me be basically a boarder at her house my senior year, which allowed me to graduate from my beloved high school. And then I got a scholarship to American University. I got a full presidential
Wow.
academic scholarship. And here again, I know the power of education and the great equalizer that is education. And so I do try to give back and support other scholarship programs for kids as well, because it makes all the difference.
You said a word that you and I have talked about many times, grit. Where did you develop grit? And are you concerned? I am about the next generation and whether or not they're developing that grit.
It's funny that you say that, Dave, because I was concerned about that because I'm from a very free range generation. Gen X was incredibly free range. We all, as we all know, the stories, we often just left the house. There was no cell phone. Our parents didn't know where we were for hours at a time, sometimes days at a time. And we managed to find our way home and survive. And I do think that that's valuable, for kids. But I
Yeah.
also have come to learn that having a stable home and giving kids the foundation that they need, they will become capable adults. I used to worry that that this generation, Gen Z, wasn't developing kind of the self-sufficiency skills that they needed. And I must say, my kids have had a very hard year, and somehow they've risen to the occasion, and they too are resilient. And somehow, Dave, grit finds you. And life puts in your path hard moments, and if your kids are loved, and I certainly did feel loved, you'll survive.
I hope you're right, because I see that quality really lacking, and I hope my own kids aren't watching and thinking I'm
Dad.
talking about them. But I hope you are right that they can develop that out there on their own. The title, for those that it's not obvious to, tell us about it.
So it's Combat Love, and it's based that name is based on the first single of a band, a local punk rock band that I fell in love with at about 13 years old. They were named Shrapnel. They were a fantastic band from Shrewsbury and Red Bank, New Jersey, and they achieved this kind of local and beyond success that we were so proud of. They played at CBGB's, they played at Max's Kansas City, they opened for the Ramones. It was a real moment in time. And when you read the book, you can, I guess, wonder if I should have been following Shrapnel around and going to CBGB's at that age, but I did, and I think I'm better for it.
Hey, Alisyn, you and I, we all know we thrive on deadlines in journalism because we have to have this story done by air, or as something's going to
Yeah.
print. I'm curious, where did you find the discipline to write this book, and what was your favorite sort of space to sit and write, and how did you find the time?
I appreciate that question, because a lot of people do feel like they have a story that they want to tell and do want to figure out how to write a book. I got the great advice, which is I would say, I don't have time. I don't have time to do this. I really, really want to tell this story, but I don't have time. And one of my friends who had written a book said, do 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. And I was like, I don't have 15 minutes a day. And he said, do 5 minutes a day. And that's ultimately what I did. I had a very demanding career while I was writing this. I was, anchoring the morning show at CNN, but I would have a commute home after the show, and on, the train, I would find an hour to write. And sometimes I only did have 5 minutes, but even that just still keeps the story percolating. And believe it or not, you can do it. Now, mind you, it doesn't happen quickly. Writing a book can be very painstaking and glacial. It took me 10 years, I would say, to write this
Really?
book. Yeah. Um, if you have a
Quickly,
job, it takes
not
a
to
long
interrupt, but
time.
kudos to
Yeah.
People Magazine for the profile. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was so touched that People Magazine just a few days ago did a profile, because the paperback came out. The book was an Amazon bestseller when it first came out, and then now with the paperback, I get a second bite at the apple. And people did a really lovely story just about the backstory on me and my life and my path towards journalism success. And it's always a little weird to read about your life through the lens of somebody else, through a reporter, as we all three have to be sensitive to. But I thought that they did a really, really nice job with it.
Finally, I know that you revealed some secrets in the book. Among them, that you found out when you were young that you had another brother, and you're still in touch with him, right?
Yeah, so the book is filled with family secrets. I guess a lot of families have family secrets. Mine
Sure.
certainly did. And so part of it is the secrets that my father carried, some of the secrets my mother carried, and how they colored my life, even though I didn't know about them growing up. And one of those was at 11 years old. It was revealed to me that I had an older brother. He was the son of my father's first marriage, and which I didn't know existed. And so it has been a wonderful byproduct in my life that I got to have this older brother, and that I'm still close to him, and he's super impressive. He's a surgeon in New Jersey, And it's been a great addition to my life to be able to have him in
All
my
right,
life.
Combat Love. Pick it up wherever you get your books.